to ensure that the graduates that are coming out, they're able to transform the Africa? Are our institution ensuring that the entrepreneurs who are graduating in our institution able to change the African narrative? The narrative which was created after independence, that Africa is not a green pasture. Remember, education, the way I was learning, I was being told by most elders that education is the key to success. The same narrative that the young leaders are the leaders of tomorrow, that we are the leaders of tomorrow. But is our education system okay to ensure that we become the young leaders who will transform the Africa of 2063? Is the education system in Africa structured to ensure that the Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, is able to be implemented? The story which was created after independence in Africa, there is no green pasture. But the reality is, since independence, there is a lot which has been happening in Africa. And the education system in Africa has been booming day and night. But there are just some things, small things to rectify. And we need also to talk about those small things. And talking about the small things, before, when the colonialists came to conquer Africa, why did they come to conquer Africa? They saw the resources in Africa, and those resources made Africa a green pasture to them. But after our forefathers fighting for the colonialism, Africa became free from colonialists in 1960s. After the 1960s, the narrative of Africa being a green pasture changed to being a no green pasture. But the reality is, in Africa, we have more resources, have more minerals. But the only thing we can't say, we are insufficient. We have insufficient skills to transform the African continent, raw materials, into finished goods. And that's why you find that in Africa, most of the time, most of the things we export much of our materials, the raw materials, than the finished goods. And this has affected so much the economy of different countries. And whenever you export the raw materials outside Africa and then you import the finished product, it's Africa who is suffering. But it's not just about that Africa can't have the green pasture. First of all, if you see today, many people have written about the brain drain, where we are losing most talented Africans to go to the UK, to get to the US, moving away from Africa. For my country, it's their problem. But what I realize, most of them go because of different issues. And these are issues like we have wars and political instability. Issues like we don't have good institutions. Issues that we don't have opportunities. We don't know how to create opportunities. But it's the right time for African students, for African graduates to realize that Africa has a great opportunity. And someone to bring this opportunity, we are as Africans. If we run away to create a green pasture in a different continent, and we leave our own continent to create a green pasture, remember, after another 50 years, our own kids, our own grandkids will be following the same way we are doing today to run for a green pasture. It's time for African continent to realize they have that potential, they have that opportunity to ensure that, one, they transform the continent into a green pasture. It's not that the continent does not have the green pasture. Africa has more raw materials and resources. Africa has labor force. The only thing is, How do we transform the talented kids, the talented graduates, to ensure that they can invest in Africa? And how do we start with that? We have the Harvards, we have the Stanford, we have the UCL, the University College of London. Why can't we create the same thing? Why can't our leaders in Africa transform Africa to have such type of institutions? Remember, we are losing billions of money in corruption every year. We are losing a lot in corruption. Why can't we use that to ensure that, one, we build institutions which, when graduates pass through those institutions, they are not job seekers. Most of our graduates who are graduating in African institutions, they seem to be job seekers. When they come from there, they seek for jobs. And it's not bad to seek for a job, but it is bad to stay in a job for 30 years without creating another job. It's the right opportunity for now that the African Union, through the Agenda 2063, the Africa we want an Africa where Africa will be able to host different nationalities outside Africa. They will see that Africa is a green pasture again. The way they saw during the colonial period that Africa had a pasture, that's the right time we need also to ensure that they see it, that Africa has an opportunity in education. Africa has an opportunity in job creation. Africa has an opportunity to ensure that it's the right place. And how do we start with that? It's us to believe in ourselves. I'll take an example, China. China, since independence, 50 years ago, they ensure that the students go to these big universities to go and get the education they wanted, to go and get the skills they wanted. But what they did is that they supported so much these young people to start investing their minds, to start investing their skills in China. And that's why you see today, China is competing with the US. China is competing by the G7 countries. But Africa has raw materials. Africa has young people, the labor force. Africa has opportunity. But we need people who can transform this opportunity. We need people who can make this opportunity to those people who don't have opportunity.